On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, Fire Force Season 2, Episode 7, Road to the Oasis. Did everyone just get high? No, but seriously, did everyone just get high? Wow, talk about a giant reveal at the very end, not to mention that mysterious voice, not to mention talking fucking animals, not to mention 200-year-old Infernals. Oh, this episode. Way to start this journey off with a fucking bang. So last we left off, much to no one's surprise, Inca has decided to walk the path of the white clad. I mean, let's face it, bitch had crazy written all over her face. But of course, that last battle did teach us two things. One, we are severely lacking in pillars as well as knowledge. So it's time to set out on a world building mission. This time it's time to acquire information not only on the Great Cataclysm, but the pillars, the Adala Burst. You know, just let's face it, the White Glads always seem a couple steps ahead. So our group, comprised mostly of rookies, including Shinra, Arthur, Tamaki, Ogun, Juggernaut, Victor, as well as Lieutenant Pan, head to the Chinese Peninsula. In this is where we pick up today's episode. We have finally arrived at the homeland of Juggernaut. Yes, the potato enthusiast, as we find out, it is the family's business, and it's actually seen its fair share of trouble. It seems there's a thief among their midst. They just can't figure out who this potato thief is. But before any investigation can get underway, it seems Juggernaut and the rest of the group have to set off. Yes, their mission does take priority, but serendipitously, they'll solve the case of the missing potatoes soon enough. First and foremost, we get a glimpse of the land, and it has been rocked, been devastated by the Great Cataclysm, as we see not only this Mars-esque cratered wasteland, but there's also fumes seeping up from the ground. Yes, this quote-unquote poisonous gas, well, it's not really poison. It does have a mind-altering effect. Okay, let's face it, like I asked in the very beginning, these fuckers are high, right? Like, my god, a way to slip in some fucking comedy in today's episode, something that I just sorely love. I mean, yes, you can be serious, but if you can pepper in some nice, you know, jibs and jabs anywhere, it's good on me. And my god, did they animate it beautifully. Look at Shinra in the group's face, and then you have Tamaki like making a fake phone call to her mother. It's honestly, it's fucking hilarious. Oh, and when Shinra started riding Juggernaut and then blowing up giant fucking rocks, I fucking laughed my tits off. It's hilarious. I will say this though, Victor did warn him, or at least we believe he warned him. But of course, this is Fire Force, so before too long, you know they're gonna run into trouble. And it just so happens that this one takes the shape of a mole. Not like a mole, like a facial feature, like an actual claw under the ground. In this case, steel potatoes type of mole. Yes, the potato thief has shown his face, but in tow, there seems to be a giant fucking metal earthworm chasing him. And yeah, the thing's fucking huge. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the mole can fucking talk. So yeah, oh my god. And a series of events that include getting high, Juggernaut finding out that this mole is the thief, figuring out this mole can actually talk, which at one point I thought was just them being fucking high, but later on in the series we find out there's a talking fucking crow. Oh shit. But before too long, Lieutenant Pan sends out their heavy hitters. Yes, Ogun, who has the ability to manifest weapons in the form of fire. It's pretty fucking badass, not to mention he can like fly around on a flame like surfboard type shit. It's honestly, it's like a rocket board. It's pretty fucking badass. And Shinra is still high off his fucking balls, taking on this fucking giant earthworm and it's honestly, it's fucking hilarious. And them playing decoy actually did a pretty good job of, you know, circumventing the earthworm. It eventually just gives up and goes away. And this is where we get some real information. You know, they're starting to interrogate, you know, Flame Blade to knife of this mole. We find out later his name is, you know, Scoop. So they're interrogating like, hey, we're going here. At first they think they're from the Zhazhang Dao. I don't know exactly what group they think they're from, but they believe that they're from some kind of headquarters. But it just so happens that the direction they're heading seems to be the Oasis, this only, you know, verdant green land in this completely terrestrial looking atmosphere. Like, it's literally an oasis. And it seems that him, as well as his crow friends and basically any animal, has been chased out of there. And they believe, you know what, if you're going there, maybe you can help us. So I'll show you the way. Everything's just la-di-da. So they're having a nice little chit chat. Well, Shinra and Ugin have decided to go off and just look around. I mean, the aesthetics of today's episode are fucking awesome. The stars are amazing. But when we get to see the sea of flames, and when Shinra finally focuses on them to see what they are, holy fucking shit. Thousands of little tiny flames flickering off in the distance, and when you realize they're infernals, but not only that, they're there from the Great Cataclysm over 250 years ago. These infernals have just been there, a constant flame for over 2 fucking centuries. My fucking god. And I was so goddamn proud of Shinra when he's like, you know what, we gotta put these fuckers to rest. We gotta do it. Of course, bunch of naysayers. Ogun's like, dude, we can't fucking do this. Even the Crow's like, I know you guys kill the Infernals. We're like, well, we technically put them to rest, but when you realize that they are technically human, like, oh fuck yeah, we killed a lot of people. But I mean, right now they're burning alive, like they're fucking Infernals. Oh god, it really tears at your heartstrings, like when you realize that, fuck, look at that sea of flames and realize every single flame down there used to be a fucking person, but from 200 years ago. Oh my god. And that's it. The ground basically is just the thin sheet of rock you see above lava. One misstep and you'll be literally burned to death. Not to mention, it's a fucking army. Thousands of Infernals just waiting there. There's no way this group could take it on. So at least let's go ahead and grab Tamaki and say a prayer for these fuckers, because god damn, you gotta feel for them. Now, of course, Crow and Scoop seem to be, with us for our journey. We make it to the outer ring, or the red line as I would call it, the boundary that makes up the Oasis. And the only 2 people that can fly are Crow and Shinra, which Crow pointed out like, hey man, you're a human and can fly? That's pretty fucking weird. Well, you know what? You're a talking fucking crow, so you have no room to talk. Or you have all the room to talk. I don't fucking know. When they fly up, it really is all green, luscious, earth, trees and plants and everything. And then upon the distance, Shinra finally notices it's Amaterasu. It's the powerhouse of, Japan. It's the lifeblood. What's it doing here? This building looks exactly like Amaterasu. The Crow actually calls it the Tarbuncle. Like it's this weird thing because they're not even sure. Like, well, technically Vulcan's ancestor's the one that created Amaterasu, but then what's this one? Which one was first? Like, talk about a giant fucking, leap in information we don't fucking have. Like, this giant structure that was, the shining jewel of Japan is out in the middle of fucking nowhere in the Chinese peninsula. Like, what the fuck? So we get this really weird, awkward moment where we're traversing this forest, and we see that there is, signs of the old life. We see a taxi completely overgrown with a fucking tree. We've seen like melted and twisted like lampposts and shit. So the old civilization there, but Earth has rejuvenated. It is once again growing. So it's weird because it's like, even Shinra puts it in Victor, that it's like this back and forth where Shinra's like, oh wow, the Adala burst, this primordial, sacred flame is recreating Earth. And then Victor's quick to point out, it's like, maybe the Adala burst, the primordial flame, is what destroyed the Earth in the fucking first place. Like, we still have this giant lack of fucking knowledge. We only have to make these giant leaps and assumptions. So we're getting closer and closer to this structure, and Scoop is quickly to point out like, hey, we're coming across the individuals that kicked us out of the Oasis. We need to get rid of them. Like, we can't take them on, but we've seen what you guys are capable of. Can you help us? Lieutenant Pan is completely against going against anyone. Like, hey, we're Fire Force soldiers. We are not the military. We can't resort to violence. And then we get a very creepy moment with Shinra, and we see like the first pillar, like the mindset come back in, and he's like, no one is going to stop me from investigating the Great Cataclysm. You know what? I tinkle a little bit because that was fucking creepy. Of course, Arthur is there to keep him in check. Like, dude, you getting that first pillar bitch back in your mindset? Like, you gotta cool the fuck out. We do get a little bit of back and forth. Even Tamaki speaks her mind, but eventually, even if Lieutenant Pan didn't want to resort to violence is gonna happen because out of nowhere, infernal dogs, or hellhounds as they put it, show up. So it's actually not some kind of human group, which I assumed that's what kicked them out of the Oasis in the first place. So they were easily able to dispatch them, Arthur, and then backed up by Tamaki saying the prayers. But after everything is said and done, we get the hook of the episode. At the very end, Shinra is once again hearing a voice. This one is a little bit different from the first pillar. It's telling him to protect the forest, that this, protect the forest. It's a little softer, it's a little more, majestic, I would put it. It's not cray-cray. So yeah. And then the preview for next week's episode is kind of confusing. We have a bunch of, maybe how Scoop got his little bandana. We see a face full of flames, Victor falling, and this weird looking black-eyed, white-eyed person. Like, so today's episode, let's face it was pretty fucking badass. We find out that there is an identical Amaterasu looking building. Who knows if it was first or second or where the fuck it came from. What the fuck is its purpose? Like, seriously, what the fuck is going on? Not to mention talking goddamn animals. We have Scoop and Crow. Like, what the fuck is going on? So now animals are affected by Adala. Like, I guess it does more than just give humans flames. It gives animals language or sentience. Like, I don't fucking know. Who are the mysterious characters we see at the fucking preview? The guy with the fucking, the hood with the flaming jack-o'-lantern face, and the creepy, well, actually, it's very creepy, black-eyed, white-eyed person. Like, goddamn, shit. Dude, they got high as fuck today. That was the best part, honestly, when Tamaki was just like fake phone calling her mom and saying, oh, I can't connect, I'm over in Chinese Peninsula. And then fucking Shinra's face, my god. Good times, good times. But all in all, I'm so glad we finally solved the mystery of who was stealing the potatoes. So with all that being said, more Fire Force next week. I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.